MSS Business Transformation Institute today we have our data scientist, Lou Howell. Lou, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Lou. I'm a data scientist here at MSS. I've been doing data and analytics for 8 years now, so I have a lot to share with you. Hopefully, it will help.
Okay. And with that accent, you're from New York City?
No, I'm originally from China.
From China?
Mm-hmm.
In Beijing? Mm-hmm. And then you came here to go to school, or?
Yes, I went to get my PhD in UC Berkeley in the Bay Area, and then worked a couple years in Washington, D.C., and then moved here.
All right. So Berkeley, and then D.C., did the coast, and then decided you had to be in the desert?
Yep.
Okay. All right. We'll worry about your questionable judgment going forward. What is it? What is a data scientist? I hear the term data scientist all the time now, but I'm not sure what that means.
That's a great question, and I get that a lot. There's a distinction between a data engineer and a data scientist. So a data engineer is like your data person. He handles data, do the collection, the storage of your data, and manipulate the data to keep it clean and good for use. While a data scientist is the one who uses the data.
Scientist in that sense is really a scientist. You're using scientific methods and processes.
To use it, apply it to the data.
So I hear about data being a big thing now, big data, all this, but why is it suddenly data? I mean, I know that when I was in college, I did statistical analysis, I did regression analysis, I did all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I failed miserably. But why is this such a big thing now? Why am I hearing about it so much now?
Yeah, it's, believe it or not, data and analytics have existed for a very, very long time. Actually, since the ancient Greek civilization, they do some analysis of their data as well. But
Greeks started everything.
Yeah. But why now is that never before have we had so much data and so much processing power to analyze the data.
So you said the object is to gain insights. That's what the data scientists do. Mm-hmm. Just for the sake of clarity, what do we mean by insights?
So it's all about the timing of the information. So think of this scenario where you're taking a flight, and there are two kinds of information. Which one do you think is more valuable? The first is knowing that your flight is roughly going to be an hour delay beforehand, like even before you leave home heading to the airport. And the other kind of information is sort of after your flight landed, you know a very accurate delay that your flight has been delayed 2 hours and 25 minutes and 20 seconds. Which kind of information is more helpful to you?
The second one. I'm kidding, the first one. I'd rather know before.
Yeah, definitely. So a little bit information, even if it's not that accurate, but ahead of time would help a lot for you to better plan your trip. And
I can let people know that I'm going to be late.
Yeah,
I can
exactly.
At least pay attention to it. Nobody picks me up at the airport anyway, though.
Exactly. And the other way an insight might help is through that. It might tell you something that's different than what you think you know. A great example is this U.S. bank. They're trying to figure out, they're always trying to convert their retail banking customer into their wealth management customers. And they've always thought, customers over age 35, they're more established. They are more ready for wealth management, so that's the group that we should focus on. And they did some analysis on their data, and they actually found that your younger customer group, like a 20 to 35-year-old with a certain level of income, the rich and young group, that's actually the group that's most likely to convert. So what the insight is telling you is actually the U.S. bank has always been going down a different path.
They're not going to be happy to hear that.
Well, they can make that right again. So.
Hey, we're going to do myth busting now about how you use your data and data scientists. So first myth is, do you need a big warehouse of data in order to have a useful program?
So that is the biggest myth, in my opinion, that you have to finish your data warehouse, data infrastructure before
you spend millions and millions of dollars.
And have this gigantic data warehouse before you start using it. In fact, data collection and storage, data infrastructure and data analytic, like we talked about collecting the data and using the data, these are two separate tasks, and they can actually go parallel with each other. You don't have to wait until one is done to start the other.
All right. Second one is technology. It's all primarily technology based.
Yes. A lot of people think, oh, it's all about technology. As long as I have the right tool, I bought this very expensive, fancy platform, and I hired a couple very expensive data scientists. I'm all good for analytics.
They're expensive.
But it's actually more than that. So besides technology, you also need to have the right business process and the right culture. You need to have all three to really realize the value out of the data.
Most people wouldn't think of culture.
So culture is like when you have all these analytics results, you have these insights, you have these action items, but you need to implement them, and that often means going beyond your analytics team, going to practically everyone in the organization to have them use the recommendations, do the action items.
They have to input the data, and they also have to understand the value of the data and why we're doing this.
They need to understand it. They need to have confidence in it, and they just need to be willing to give it a try.
So there you go. You have to have a good culture. Okay,
right.
Culture eats everything for breakfast. The other myth is that if you have once you get set up, everything's a routine. You're just waiting for data to come across, and once a month you look at that data and then you make an assessment. Is that the right way to approach it?
And as your organization grows and changes, your business questions change, your goals and objectives change. So analytics should serve that purpose. So it should be constantly changing as well.
So when I think of companies that are using data, I think of Amazon and Apple. And I used to work for a Fortune 50 company, and we had a huge data warehouse in India, and 300 analysts looking at the data all the time and chunking it out. How do I, if I'm a small or mid-sized company, how do I compete with them?
The point here is analytics is all about coming up with the right solution that's best suited for your own business. It's about competing with yourself, practically. It's about improving upon your own operation and performance. And there's a way for everyone.
So if that's the case, how do I get going? I don't have a lot of data. I don't have the resources that a bigger company has. How do I get started?
My advice is your analytics project should always start with a specific business question, not with what available data I have, but with something like what business issue I want to solve or what question I want to answer. And when you start with a question, then think about what kind of data I need. I might need this data table to be joined with that data table so that I got the information I need to answer that specific question. But this way, you're tying your analytics directly to your business drivers or your pain points, and that way it works fast.
And then I assume that as we answer certain questions, we get other benefits along the way.
Exactly, and along the way, you start with one question. Along the way, you might get additional insights on your data and additional findings, and from there, that leads to another analytics project and leads to more and more use cases for analytics, and that's how you grow your analytics.
So we're in a new time for analytics because of artificial intelligence, because of big data, because of Internet of Things. When I'm looking down the road, what do I expect to see as a leader of a company? What should I be preparing for?
If you remember things like Uber, smartphones, or such things that just emerged and completely changed our way of doing things, those are disruptive technology disruptions, and those things are happening as well in the analytics realm. We're seeing a lot of disruptions. And right now, as you said, with machine learning and AI, we're looking at even more disruptions. That's where the predictive analysis, the power of predictive analysis is further enhanced. They become more code-free, more business user-friendly, more real-time, and just have a higher processing power to handle more and more data.
So when I think of data analysis, I mean, there seems like there's a very obvious value in the quantification of information, but is that the real value? What do you see as the value of data analytics and the use of data analytics in business?
So you have these experts that are good at what they're doing, and we hear that a lot, that there's some resistance about, what the data tells me, I know what I'm doing, I don't need the data to analytics to replace me or something. But it's not about replacing your job, it's just about providing you the context, setting the context, providing you more information to help you
to draw on that expertise. There's an old saying that people don't know what they know until they need to know it. And so there's a point in time where you have to understand what the seas are. If you're the captain of a ship,
right,
you need to know what the seas are, you need to know what the weather is, and then you can be an expert on what to do with the ship.
Right, exactly.
Is that a good analogy? All right. Lu Hao is with MSS, Business Transformation Advisors. She's also providing a workshop for our institute here for people who want to learn more about analytics. We're going to post the link in with the video so that you can sign up or just see what it's all about. And Lu, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm glad to have you here.
Oh, thanks.
All right.
Thanks for having me here.
Zaijin.
Bye-bye.
The conversation was said, I think he's getting hot flashes. I'm not even there yet.
I drove across town at 1 mile an hour, then 100 miles an hour, and then set this up, and now I got to leave by 2. Now for this segment, we're going to do something called Mythbusters. First myth: you have to be Chinese to be a data scientist. No, you're not.
That's actually true.
It's a rule. All right, no, I'm kidding. So if that's the case, how do I get going? I don't have a lot of data. I don't have the resources that a bigger company has. How do I get started?
Yes, it's...
That's the question you wanted.
So, yeah.